What is an adolescent but a miserable pile of secrets? Yes, it is time once again.
Really?
It's time once again, guys, for another Fright of Fandom set in the world of Gravedale High. For all of you guys who don't know, I am your MC tonight and your producer, Zach, otherwise known as Great Samino. I use he, him pronouns, and I am joined by a fantastic cast as per usual. Starting over on the left, Chris, if you'd like to introduce yourself out to everybody.
Sure. Quick note, though. If you use the words miserable pile of secrets, you have to throw a champagne glass on the floor. I will make the rules.
Sorry.
Sorry. R.I.P. to Zach's champagne glasses, honestly. I don't know. That's a real shame.
I'm Christopher. My pronouns are he, him. I am by day a high school English teacher, but right now I am Johnny Thorn, the Infernal.
Excellent. Moving down the overlay, Hopper, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
No, don't think I will. I'm just gonna finish. My hair feels weird. That's all you get. No. What's up, everybody? I'm Hopper. I'm a professional arborist and game master, based out of Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, no, I'm here again. Sorry, whoops. My pronouns are they, them, and I am tonight I am returning playing old Tracy, your resident weirdo art girl who happens to have a furry little secret in that she turns into a giant jacked werewolf named Max. And yeah.
Excellent. Moving over to the other side of the overlay. You know him, you love him. Jeff, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I am Jeff Stormer. I am an award-winning podcaster and game designer living in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. My pronouns are he and his. And this week, as I did last week, I am playing Gravedale substitute English teacher and also award-winning game designer and podcaster, originally located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Jeff Stormer, whose pronouns are also he and his.
I will never get tired of that. Then moving down, finally, last but not least, Marcy, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Marcy, aka Experimental Madness, and that is still the username. You can find me most places around the internet except for Twitter, where I remain the resident cryptid, and I feel like this month, out of all of the other months, that statement somehow has more meaning in this spooky time. I'm a writer and editor by day, and by night I play fun and amazing characters with fun and amazing people. And I am back playing the one, the only, Bloberella, the queen of Gravedale High.
Guys, I am so excited because last week was just so nuts and so weird and so wild. But just to give you guys a heads up before I dive into our recap, we are playing a really fantastic role-playing game called Monsterhearts 2 by Avery Alder. This is a really great game. It's powered by the apocalypse, so you only need 2 dice to play it, and it's about angsty teenage monsters angsty teenage queer monsters, and it is very awesome. I haven't played this in forever, and my first time back was really fantastic thanks to the lovely cast here. We are not playing with any kind of set playbooks. We're also ditching intimacy or sex moves and replacing them with intimacy moves. What we are doing is we are entering once again back into the halcyon world of 1991's Gravedale High animated Saturday morning cartoon show, which has, of course, like many fantastic children's or young adult properties like Archie and Sabrina, been turned into a gritty CW hard PG-13 drama. So without further ado, let us recap where we started out last week. So, Previously on Gravedale High. The camera opened, and we have this clip that shows one Jeff Stormer, as well as substitute teacher and award-winning podcaster Jeff Stormer, having a montage of the previous season, his travails working with the then superintendent or head principal Schneider, played by an aging and yet so graceful and so witty Rick Moranis, who is forced into a situation in which, once again, he now takes on the mantle of substitute teacher, but with the aid of headmistress Crone, a woman with an iron hand and a very strange disposition, who informed him of budget cuts that were taking place across the entire school. We met some very strange and interesting characters, one of whom, Jason Voorhees, resident PE teacher, and perhaps would be unrequited love interest. We'll see how that develops. We also got to flash back to the previous season where we saw what transpired with our resident monster teens. In which we saw a meeting with Satan averted by Rick Moranis at a great, or Principal Schneider at a great cost, but aiding at the same time and preventing the loss of one Delbert, Johnny Thorn's soul, and cutting to a very chummy, familial bonding moment between two werewolves, one elder, one younger, burying a couple of would-be Winchester twins by the Rockatansky family. So that was a very touching flashback. And then finally, of course, we saw the triumph of Bloberella as she became the queen bee of Gravedale High going into her junior year. And that caught us up to speed with the current episode, wherein we found out that the scrutiny of the educational district was very intensely on Gravedale High, and all of this was happening post replacement of Principal Schneider, in which we decided that, you know, one of the things that was most important was making sure that we were proving our worth as an educational institution for special needs youth, at which point you ended up having special being the operative word, and then you ended up finding out about the time-honored traditions of Spirit Week, which of course was cowboy themed this year. We met some of the fellow we met some fellow monsters in the classmates of y'all, and you guys met a very charming and also terrifying and terrible sociopathic cannibal named George. Are there any other moments we want to make sure that we call out here from last week?
I can call out a couple for Johnny. So Johnny's on a quest to be a quote-unquote metal god, by building the ultimate metal band and impressing all the people that previously rejected him. Unfortunately, the trickster demon Zalman, with whom he made his pact instead of the devil, is making far more inroads in that quest than he is, because he's still just a high school kid. So Zalman is catching the eye of Bloberella, though it's not clear yet where that's going to go. I don't want to speak for you. That was the impression I got.
Oh, I meant, where are the eyes? There are no eyes.
Catching the...
It's hard to say, really.
It is hard to say. Catching the nebulous
gelatin
attention of Bloberella.
Really more about the application.
Johnny, meanwhile, tried to recruit Samara of the Ring fame to his band, and long story short, that didn't go well. Mm-hmm. He did, however, recruit a big hulking guy named Eddie to be his bassist.
Excellent.
So that's where he's at on that quest.
One successful recruitment drive, yes, of your path on your path to the Battle of the Bands. Yeah, actually, Tracy, what happened to you last session?
Mostly bad things. Got threatened by George, and just being a real dick about the marching band mostly. Then Bloberella took all the credit for all my hard work on the prop work for Spirit Week, that I had spent a lot of time and effort doing. And then I managed to get her volunteered into really just being really involved with all the arrangements, which was I think Tracy's tiny revenge. She's not a social politicker like Bloberella, but and then somebody set all my shit on fire, and then now Bloberella's shit, no longer my problem. And Tracy ended up turning into a werewolf, into her darkest self, into Max, and pulling a. Ooh, I'm trying to remember his name. What's our weird little dorky friend's name?
Hank.
Pulling Hank out of the burning wreckage in the auditorium stage where all these props were being constructed, and then I think that is right about where we were at, and we know one psychopathic asshole was probably to blame for all of this. So.
Excellent. And
she was just glad to have an excuse to turn into a werewolf. Max is the best.
I was gonna say we're gonna pick up in that moment as well, in that kind of like moment of transformation, or what it looks like when you kind of come down from this. But before we do that, Bloberella, what about you? How did this last week's session look from your perspective?
I mean, pretty good, I think. I gave a cute guy my number, and we're totally going to connect on that front, and it's going to be great. Totally leaving behind my ex from last year, which is the Babadook, which we did establish. Upgrade! Moving from Babadooks to demons. I have my run of the school. I'm going to be heading up all of the Spirit Week stuff now, I guess. That's fine, whatever. I still have to work on all of my cheers for the game. That's coming up. You know, go Rip Monks.
Go Rip Monks!
Go Rip Monks!
Oh right, I'm a total hero because I was able to put out all of the fire for that was happening in the auditorium. It's me. I've done everything.
Excellent. And finally, Jeff, did you see anything strange happen last week, or meet anybody interesting? What was?
My priority is teaching these kids and forming connections with these kids. And yes, I did realize that several of them are monsters, and that was alarming. I did have a really sweet heart-to-heart moment with Johnny, with young Johnny Thorn, where we really connected, and I tried to broaden Johnny's boundary, musical horizons a little bit with a little album from a band called the Bare Naked Ladies. We're gonna continue to try and expand on Johnny's musical tastes as our time together continues. But I did come face to face with some fairly unspeakable horrors, namely the tragic amounts of underfunding that are facing the American educational system, as well as the scariest monster of all, which is an inspector from the school board named Mr. Hunnam, who I've had to try and explain away the school partially catching on fire.
Yeah, absolutely. So with all of this kind of history of last week, everything that transpired last week, out in past the recap now, we smash cut to the title card, Gravedale High. So, we are now, I believe, starting in the kind of blighted, decrepit looking wooded area just outside the auditorium. Tracy, now Max, where you have dragged an unconscious Hank out to safety. Now, let me ask you, you are currently your darkest self right now. And describe for the audience what that looks like.
Yeah, so Tracy definitely Tracy is a werewolf of the classic magical blood heritage variety. And she roughly triples in size. She is a big old boy, or rather Max is a big old boy. He's a chonky fella. So I think probably I'm picturing like maybe like still a little bit adolescent, but like a solid 6 foot, and just I think I've been kind of picturing it like, you know, the lichens from Underworld.
Mm-hmm.
Been picturing like that, like the kind of beefy,
Yeah.
like not but like just a lot of visible tendon, a lot of visible muscle, just like really gnarly looking. And so Max has just dragged this sweet, totally innocent, not at all suspicious, weird little dude out of a burning fire, and I think into the hallway away from the fire itself.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah.
Also gray fur. There you go. I don't fucking know. What do you want?
I am curious, what if you will read your darkest self move for me, what does it take for you to end this this kind of darkness?
I'm so glad you asked, Zachary. You transform into a terrifying wolf creature. You crave power and dominance, and those are earned through bloodshed. If anyone attempts to stand in your way, they must be brought down and made to bleed. You escape your darkest self when you wound someone you really care about, or the sun rises, whichever happens first.
Okay. All right. So I will tell you this. Hank is completely out. Just utterly unconscious, smoke inhalation, the whole thing. I think you start hearing some commotion. You see some red lights flick into your blood-tinged vision. What do you do?
Are we in the halls now?
Well, I was gonna say, I would say you dragged him outside of the like burning auditorium out into the wooded area outside.
Oh, okay. So we're outside. Yeah, I think Max, I think, has just scruffed this kid since fire, and like basically was just supporting the back of the neck just in case. I think at this point is kind of fully succumbing to the wolf, and just absolutely drops Hank and just face plants in the grass.
Well, my question is, are you fighting this, or are you embracing it?
Oh, absolutely embracing this.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So
we had a justification to turn into a cool ass werewolf.
Yeah.
And
right.
School sucks.
Okay.
Yeah, you needed that catharsis.
So here's the thing. This is what I have to ask you is this is hard PG-13. What do you think would happen if Max were to encounter a well-meaning firefighter at this junction?
Ooh. I think it depends on how the firefighter reacted.
Yeah, I think you just see well, the thing that you see is clipped to a belt, a heavy duty kind of fluorescent firefighter's with kind of fluorescent highlights, flame retardant jacket and uniform for a firefighter, kind of cutting through this kind of smoke-filled wooded area outside the auditorium, and you just see that that axe clipped to his belt, and you just hear him call back, "I think we've got survivors, more people out here. I'm gonna go take a look." What do you do?
So I think Max has just dropped Hank and face first into the grass, and is just kind of like doing that weird, creepy werewolf, not quite bipedal, not quite quadrupedal lope. And just kind of getting a little bit closer, trying to figure out who this is exactly. I think Max has bastard energy. But is still also a teenager, so this might just be like, I'm gonna scare the shit out of you, or it might be, I'm gonna eat you.
Okay. I am gonna tell you this. I would like you to... All right, so I feel like you have two options here, which is you can either gaze into the abyss if you are trying to embrace the dark, or are you trying to keep your cool and kind of like control it, put it inside your kind of like realm of control?
I think this is gazing into the abyss.
Okay. Give me a roll. I will tell you this. If you... let's see. You just give me a roll. See what you get.
All right. That is a 8.
Okay.
Total.
On a 7 to 9, the abyss shows you confusing and alarming visions, but you get your answer nonetheless. Name what you're looking for.
I think Max wants to know who did that. Like, while Tracy was like, yep, fuck it. It's not my problem now. It's that bitch's problem. Max is like, that was ours.
Okay. Excellent. You get a sniff in, and I will say, I think the thing that that really kind of fills your nostrils, I'm trying to think of, is just really rank sweat, oiled leather, and like boot wax.
Hard PG-13, Zach.
Like boot wax as in like on a set of like Doc Martens.
Okay.
Did I say something wrong there? I didn't get it. All right.
Don't worry about it.
It's all good. All good. Nobody said anything weird.
Just an interesting series of descriptions.
Okay.
Anyways, I think Max will follow that scent.
Okay.
Firefighter can have a maybe live another day.
Okay. All right. So you start heading back to the auditorium, and we cut back to the 3 PCs. At this time, like, you have embraced the darkness, but you have given it something else to follow. And you, as you kind of trail off, and the point of view from the of this camera kind of like shifts away, the firefighter looking to pick up a downed Hank. You start heading back in the direction of the fire, looking for the person that may or may not have been responsible. So we cut back to everybody in the auditorium here, or not in the auditorium, but I think in the gymnasium at this point, because you guys were practicing your licks.
Oh no, I'm in the auditorium. I was putting out the fire.
Oh shit, that's right.
I'm in the hallway with George.
Okay, cool. At this point, like, I think, Jeff, you actually have a couple of options here. You can kind of like follow up and try to like be, I think, evacuating people, or you can kind of like see what the hubbub is going on with like Johnny. Which do you do?
I think I am seeing. I think I am probably like if when I arrive on the scene, if I see Johnny and George in a fight, then I'm going straight for the fight.
Okay.
Because it is my responsibility as a teacher to make sure these kids don't get hurt.
Yeah, at this point, you see a kid with a chef's knife in his restrained hand. Johnny has pinned him down and has a knowing, smug look on his face. What are you doing?
I am rushing in to stop this. I have a move here, break it up, which is when I step in specifically to when I act to intervene in a conflict between one or two or more students, I reduce any harm that might be suffered by the parties involved by one and gain a string on each of them. I am running in. I run in. I grab the. I'm running in, trying to grab the chef knife out of the hands. I am more worried about the chef's knife than I am George being restrained, especially if he has a knife. But I do want to get these kids away from each other so that they don't hurt each other and make sure that the scene is secure. Mm-hmm. And if Mr. Hunnam happens to be watching this and happens to see the proud efforts of a heroic teacher saving the day, even better.
Okay. So I don't know if you are shutting someone. I think you're shutting down George is what it sounds like. Either that or you are keeping your cool, which sounds more.
I think I'm shutting down George.
Okay, cool. Go ahead and give me that roll for roll plus
I'm
cold.
Gonna briefly show off my dice here to show that I am getting in the mood of the game. I have selected the Pride flag dice because I figure this is a CW show and that is very gay. I also have the scariest dice I know, which is my Insane Clown Posse Hatchet Man dice.
Nice.
Of course, like you do.
School.
What says CW more than Insane Clown Posse plus gay?
I'm just picturing those like Teen Wolf like musical interludes during the MTV series where it's just like the name of the artist on the soundtrack just pops up superimposed non-diegetically. Anyhow, yes. So ICP is currently being represented. Go ahead.
I rolled a what stat is? Remind me what stat is. Shut it down.
That is cold.
Oh, that is a 12.
Okay, all right. On a 10 up, choose one from below. They lose a string on you. If they have no strings on you, gain one on them. They gain a condition, or you take one forward. What would you like to do?
I am going to say... I'm going to put a condition onto George.
Okay, cool. What condition is that?
Let me remind myself what the conditions are. Oh wait, the conditions are just whatever I want it to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
The condition here is he's in a restrained position. I think the condition that I am putting on George is I am going to put the condition on George of disarmed physically, disarmed emotionally. I think I have taken the knife and like positioned myself in a way to say like you are disarmed in this moment. You do not have a weapon to use against me.
Yeah, absolutely. I am very curious. What do you say to this kid in order to get him to drop? Because there is absolute murder in his eyes as he is looking up at Johnny.
I grab the knife and I say, let me think about it for just a second. I think I grab hold of the knife and I say, listen, you want to stick around? You can take this shot now and lose everything, or you can hang out here and stay in the school and stay among your peers. And I assure you, there are places where you are going to feel a lot less welcome than in this particular school surrounded by these particular monsters.
Okay. At which point he
I think Johnny would interrupt and be like, I don't know if you'd feel that way if you knew what the knife was for. Mr. Popularity, you want to tell Teach what the knife is for?
Oh.
I mean, I can guess what a knife is for.
Yeah, George looks at you. God, is this a move are you pulling a string? Or what are you trying to do?
I think I'm trying. I don't know if I guess the closest thing would be shut someone down, but it's not so much shutting him down. I'm just trying to like rattle him. Like, I guess what I'm trying to do is like sabotage him psychologically so that he like goes off even more in front of the teacher.
You know what? I'm going to say this is going to be basically you're tempting him to do what you want. So pull a string. Do you have a string on George or no?
I don't have any strings on George. No.
Okay. So in that case, that is just going to be keeping your cool. I think, yeah, keeping your cool kind of like, or I kind of wonder. No, this is coming into like, I think this is your infernal power. Like as you kind of like look at this kid, like the stare and the glare unflinching, unmoving, we start hearing in the very background the strings of a Latin chorus starting to build. I'd like you to roll with dark.
With dark, okay, that's great because that's 1 instead of -1.
Yeah, you are gazing into the abyss now.
All right, that's a 10. Sorry, that's a 9. It's a 9.
On a 7 to 9, the abyss shows you confusing and alarming visions, but you get your answer nonetheless. And I think that in this case, like you are looking at this kid and suddenly your vision gets tinged by fire and blood, and you just have this vision of yourself rocking on this nasty, sharp looking guitar, and you flash, and in a moment you have the head of a goat staring down while also lashing out, but there's like this kind of sideways eye running up, bloodshot in the middle of your forehead before flashing back, and you just crunch this massive guitar solo. So yeah, you have this moment, and when you kind of like stir from this reverie, George is looking at you the first time he's actually shown any kind of emotion, a little bit afraid. So, and I will give you a string on him, or I will let you mark a condition. What would you like to do?
I think I'll take the string because I've got beef with this guy because of the way that he treated Tracy. So this is not like a one-time thing for me.
Excellent.
I do think that because of that vision, I'm going to say out loud to myself in a way that both of the other of them can hear that seems inexplicable. I'm just like, fuck yeah.
Excellent. You, Jeff, you pry the chef's knife quickly out of this kid's hands. And as you kind of like turn, I think just behind you, you see startling in that he was able to move so quickly and so silently without making any kind of awareness available to you. You see PE teacher Voorhees waiting with a hand outstretched to as if to grab the chef's knife, but is waiting patiently for you to give it to him.
I flip it a little bit in my hand. I hand it handle first, which is the appropriate way to hand off a knife. And of course, our hands gently graze as I hand off the knife. And I stand there and I hold my hand for a second and I blush it.
At which point, before the knife gets slotted neatly into a tool belt, there's just this.
Would you say it gets slotted suggestively?
This is a hard PG-13. Yeah, it gets it's a little suggestive.
I feel like knife in the tool belt is like exactly PG-13.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. At which point, I think the moment just lingers a little too long before you hear, "Well, what is all this then?"
These two students were fighting. I broke it up. I handed off the knife to PE teacher Voorhees. The situation seems to be under control. The fire seems contained. And was Mr. Hunnam watching? Because I looked extremely cool.
You just you know what? Roll. I want you to roll me some dice. Roll keep your cool for me.
All right. I will roll keep my cool.
I will say
that is
yeah.
with cold. That is a 7, 8, 9. That is a 9.
Okay. On a 7 to 9, leave you vulnerable. I will tell you this. You notice that Mr. Hunnam is a short distance away watching, marking with a clipboard, and then you realize you just caught a kid with a knife in school. And he makes a mark on a clipboard. And you just hear the air just sucked through Headmistress Crone's churchyard teeth. And we're going to cut from that moment. Bloberella.
Yes.
So you have put out this auditorium fire. And I think that, your crew is there, but you also just hear like the voice of Vinnie Stoker, the local vampire teen, shout out, "Hey, look, she put out the fire all by herself."
I know. No need to thank me. And like, I feel like I don't have limbs, but I've like articulated some passable prehensile gelatinous substance that's been holding on to like 3 different fire extinguishers, and I just put those down. Not before like spraying just a little bit around me, because it makes me all like crystally for just a second. It's kind of cool. And I'm really digging that effect. It makes me sparkle.
And you just hear another somebody from the back just go, you hear someone yell, "She's a goddamn hero!" And
Stop it.
I was just like, then I think you hear somebody just in kind of like a crisping like voice say, "I wish I was that fire." There's just like this kind of like cascade of
this is Big Mean Girl. She punched me in the face once. It was amazing. Energy. I love it.
And you see, not only do you see Gelatina, I think it's
I named her that.
Gelatina, one of your rival / frenemy blobs is looking on as all this happens, and she's kind of clapping noiselessly or squelchily her 2 pseudopods, and you can't really see a expression on this face, but you know that she's probably like just like quietly like just simmering at all of the attention that you're getting, because every day that throne gets further and further away.
I know.
And then through your sensory apparatus, you just hear a powerful set of hands clapping, and you recognize the coolest teenager you've met this week, Zal, starting a clap that starts crescendoing out as all of the people onlooking start clapping for you.
You guys, it was just being in the right place at the right time.
And I think he just he comes forward to kind of, thanks for that, guys. He moves forward to kind of speak to you, and just kind of like almost like centering himself as if he's on a stage a little bit. Just be like, that's more than that. It's hero's instinct, what you did right there.
All right, well, if you say so, well, then how can I argue?
And I think he's trying to, I think he has a string on you, doesn't he? I'm trying to remember.
Maybe. I definitely don't have one on him.
Okay.
I've got 1 for each of my blob squad, and I have 2 on Tracy.
Excellent. Okay. In that case, I think he's looking at you in a way that's like a little bit like half like most impressive, and another kind of like a little bit come hither. What do you do?
I mean, I've got this under control, so I can just... I'm done with this now. Like, I've solved it. No worries. I will move out with Zalamon past everybody.
Yeah, and I think
Clearly he's like the hottest guy in school, so this is fitting.
Absolutely. And I think at this point, he kind of offers his arm to you. What do you do?
I morph an appendage that can loop through said arm and glide on out.
Yeah, I think you glide out, and the path that he takes you down, you realize is a little circuitous. Kind of just, it doesn't seem like the most efficient pathway away from kind of like the burning area or like the smoldering area. And you have this moment where you pass through the gymnasium, or at least like through past the open doors on a hallway on your way off of campus. And there is a moment where he has a hitch in his step, and he pointedly looks to one side and just kind of like hesitates there for a moment before kind of continuing to move along. Johnny, on the other side of this, you just like a moment after you finish handling this business with George, you look up and you see Zal making eye contact with you very pointedly while ushering Bloberella out of the building.
Do I notice that?
You can give me either, I will say you can either gaze into the abyss or you can try to keep your cool here.
Okay, I'll do keep your cool, because I've got 2 in that.
Yeah, I think that it's more like acting in spite of kind of like everything here.
Okay, that's gonna be a 13.
On a 13, okay. On a 13, yeah, you easily catch this moment where you realize this is it's almost that you realize that what is happening is very performative. And I will tell you, it's basically because whatever is happening, I think Zal was expecting you to swoon a little bit, or to at least kind of like be like really more present and into this, what he is doing.
Sweetheart, I don't swoon on our first walk down the hall.
Yeah. And I think that it's a sense of the overconfidence that you get, but you gain that insight, and you are also going to take 1 forward on whatever you decide to do here.
So if I notice that little interaction, I will say, do you like know each other?
Oh yeah,
you and Delbert over there.
Let's just say I tried to teach him everything I know, and he's coming up a little short.
Oh, don't feel bad. I mean, it'd be hard to teach him anything, really. It's pathetic. But you shouldn't waste your time with people like him. Not when you have so much more potential.
That's so. And he starts ushering you out of the building, at which point he's just like, tell me more.
That might require dinner, I think.
Well, saving lives is hungry work. And yeah, he says, I know a diner not too far from here if you want to maybe take some time to catch up, maybe talk a little bit.
Hell yeah, school's boring anyway.
And yeah, you leave the school building, and as you are making your way out, I think Johnny, before you guys manage to exit, you see I think you see that moment where Zal has this kind of like smiling kind of while also looking at you moment. Like they're in on a joke that you can't hear. And when you guys leave the building, there is another moment that happens where Tracy, from kind of the woods surrounding this school, I think you do see Bloberella leaving hand in hand with this stranger, this very good looking, kind of very stylish looking teenager. What do you do?
I would like to pull a string to. I would like to sneak up on them and then pull a string to just basically just jump scare. Not necessarily jump scare, but like there's something in the bushes, something scary is happening. Vibes.
Okay.
I think Tracy's, well, in this case, Max is a little bit more of a fucking gremlin, and is 100% down for that.
I will tell you this.
You take my work, I take your man.
I would like you to lash out physically, because this is rolling with volatile here.
Okay, I do that. That is a 6 and a 5 plus 2, so 13.
Oh wow. Okay, so you are trying to. Are you trying to scare both of them or just Bloberella?
I think the yes. This is indiscriminate.
Does this happen automatically, or is this a contested roll?
I will say this. I will tell you this. You can either spend a string to try and kind of, or you can make a roll. What is most interesting to you?
I think
this
roll
is too
more fun, just because.
Yeah.
Just because I enjoy this.
Okay. Cool.
Would this be keeping my cool? I'm imagining that it has to be it.
Yeah. This is keeping your cool.
That's not as good as a 13, so it really doesn't matter. It's not a failure. I talk so I can do math at the same time because I'm terrible at what I do. It's a 9.
Okay. All right. A 9. All right. So yeah, I think on a 7 to 9, the MC will tell you how your actions would leave you vulnerable. Well, this is actually something I'm curious. Like, what does vulnerability and being caught off guard look like for Bloberella?
I mean, I'm like that mushroom meme. You cannot kill me in any way that matters. But I don't know what it would physically look like on her, because there's no expression on her face, but I do imagine it just gets a little wiggly.
Oh yeah.
Just like a ripple effect, like.
And I will say with a 13, you do catch Zal. I will tell you this. I think I just want to give you this for free. I'm not going to make you roll. You see Zal turn defensively, and one of his hands has sprouted these nasty crimson-tipped claws.
Oh, that is so hot.
And you just see there's kind of like these little almost dents poking out of the top of his forehead, and they immediately recede. I will tell you this: if you are not going to try to harm them, if this is just a fright, that moment immediately passes and they recede.
I don't even think Max ever actually becomes visible. I think that this is like in the bushes immediately adjacent, like low threatening growling and like kind of crescendoing, and then that happens, and then you hear dog laughing.
Yeah, but I know you. Like, yeah. I've known you for a long time. And I think, like, Bloberella knows Max as well, wouldn't you say? Like, we've been friends since we were...
Yeah, it doesn't seem like this would be the first time that Max has done this.
Yeah, like, it's interesting because it's the same person, but it's just radically different aspects of the same person.
Max, you are such a little jerk. It's not funny.
Can I throw some gasoline on this fire?
Please do. What do you got?
I think so. This is happening in and around. This is happening like in the student parking lot or in the school parking lot towards
yeah,
the car.
almost certainly.
At this, I think what I want to say is like at this moment, like the bush rattles, there's scary noises, and like we see just outside of like everyone's vision, I've been leaning on the hood of my car on the phone, like. I don't know. Just he seems aloof. What should I like? Is it weird? Is it too? Hold on. Is there, what's going on? Like rushes in. Like,
yes.
Confronting the fact that 2 students are trying to skip, and there may be another knife wielding murderer in the bushes.
Yeah, I think at this point, you see a how tall is Tracy 6'2" as Max?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'd
Max,
say like 6'1", 6'2", like adolescent werewolf. Just real monster of a fucking beastie. Like I said, like I think because it's CW, I think we don't actually do you think we see her transform into him, or do we just hear it?
well, I was gonna say like
What kind of budget are we working with?
Well, let me see. You know what?
We
Like,
got like a Netflix budget. I think we got that CGI budget.
yeah, absolutely. I think that this is like this show was the sleeper hit that nobody realized that, and before it peters out after 2 or 3 seasons, God damn it, they're gonna make that budget work. So you got the budget. What does this look like? What did it look like?
So what did that look like? I think I kind of described it from a visceral noise point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was real graphic, like a lot of muscle, body horror, crunchy, like, and so like Max does not look like a wolf, does not look like a man, is very clearly a fucking monster. And does Jeff see Max, I guess, is the question. Do you just hear the noises in the woods? What because I think Max is like, oh yeah, no, let's fuck with the teacher now.
Oh shit. Okay.
You tell. I'll let Zach decide if you need a roll for it, but I think I arrive and I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is that noise? Do I need to disarm another student today? Also, why are you 2 in the parking lot? Does not matter. Need to protect your lives.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. How does this unfold? What is this like? What do you guys do? Like this is chaos.
Look, I just got finished saving the school, and I think I deserve a little treat. So I'm gonna go do that, and with my new friend here, and this mess. And she just gestures with like just rippling her gelatinous body around in your direction, Max. They seem to be having, I don't know, some sort of issue with it. I don't know. I never know what's up with him.
I think that the bush just growls dramatically.
Oh my god, just come out. We all know it's you.
I love the image of a 6'2" hulking wolf monster fully obscured by bushes.
we all know whoever's in there. We all know you.
So dramatic.
No one's afraid of you right now.
I think you get one more and I think that, I guess Johnny isn't there, but Bloberella definitely knows that this is more bass than Max's growl actually is. Max is literally doing the I'm gonna lower my voice growl. And then is going to try to sneak away without the substitute teacher ever seeing him.
Okay, go ahead and roll to keep your cool then. Yeah, I think that is exactly what it is. You are trying to get out of the way of scrutiny, it would seem.
I shit you not, that is another 6 and a 5.
Wow.
So that is a 10.
Yeah, I think that, just like, and then like it just stops shaking, and then there's that quiet moment where Jeff, you do the very exploratory creep forward, and you kind of push the bush to one side, and whoever was there is gone.
If Jeff is distracted by that, I do think Bloberella is going to try to get out of there with Zalamon.
All right.
While you're distracted.
So I think this is another. Keep your cool.
Okay.
All right.
All right. 5 and a 4. Not bad.
Okay.
And that's gonna be a total of 11.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. You guys managed to do the thing where Jeff just, with the best of intentions, tries to scoot and kind of like look behind the bush, sees nobody there, turns around, there's nobody left waiting behind. And you just see this very pale young teen with like a greaser cut and a leather jacket look at you, come up kind of like sidle along you, alongside you, just say, "You looking for something, Teach?"
No, not.
I will say, Bloberella is a blob. So there's probably like,
trail.
like somebody would like leave footprints. You can see like footprints,
like
footprints-ish.
It's like a slime trail.
Well, but it's more like shit. It's more like it is. It's not like a full-blown slime trail. It's more like in steps a little bit of like pink, purple. Sneaking is definitely not the any blob's strong suit.
Okay. Fair enough. But
And I think I see that, and I turn to the greaser. No, I think I have everything that I need.
and we end this day, this interminable day.
I will say that if we go to that diner off screen, we definitely like sat down with menus. As the waitress came over, Bloberella just ate her.
Oh my, yes. You're just like,
We ate the staff at the diner.
Yeah, exactly. And I think at that point, Zal is just like sipping one side of the milkshake she managed to deliver. It has 2 straws in it, but it's only him sipping from it. And whilst looking at you, slowly devouring this person, you just hear him say, "I like your style."
Can I add something that he says?
Yeah, absolutely. What does Zal say?
I picture she like gulps down the waitress, and Zalman like says that to her, and then turns and looks at the paralyzed with fear line cook and goes, "I'll have what she's having."
Yes. So, midnight passes, and the morning arises. The sun rises in the sky over this overcast sky above the school once again. If you guys would like, we can either we can find out what your all's morning is like, but we can cut a little bit deeper into Spirit Week, and we can cut to the game where the Rip Monks are playing against the I'm gonna call them like the Anywheresville Generals or something like that. Yeah, what do you guys think? What do you want to do? Is there any scenes you guys want to see?
I don't think I have anything that needs doing before the game.
Okay.
Nah, I'm all about Spirit Week.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, let's do Spirit Week. I have an important question, though. One caveat. Who actually wears the Rip Monk mascot outfit?
That is a really good question. Like, okay. Who wears the Rip Monk?
The Invisible Man.
Yes. Okay. All right. Perfect. Believe it or not.
There's nothing inside of the mascot suit.
Yeah.
He can fit into anything.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's exactly that. Cole Drake just came back with the best mascot name for the opposing team. It's the Centerville Norms. Yeah. So,
Nice.
Okay. So you guys are playing the Norms at some point. But the person that is wearing the mascot outfit is Sid. Sid the Invisible Boy. He is actually the class president at Gravedale High, and has been kind of like watching you with some interest, Bloberella. Like, is this the day I'm finally going to be defeated? Kind of like interest. Yeah, so that is your answer. That is who is donned the God. Then again, would the class president be the mascot? You know what?
Why not? You love to see it.
Yeah, screw it. Sid's a participator. Yeah, Sid is the Gravedale Rip Monk.
I think he's also another X. But the problem was I just kept losing him. So it just doesn't work out. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm just
gonna keep adding on to the X list until it stops making sense.
She needed someone with a little more substance.
Yeah. Oh, very good.
I think at some point
I'm a man eater.
Yeah, I think exactly. I think in the hall, as you pass by with Zal, you just see this shadowy, kind of like black coated, top hatted figure with pale, ghostly white skin and deep sunken in black eyes, and you just see a bouquet of flowers in his like outstretched, like long fingered claws. And you hear Babadook.
Baby, you gotta get over it. I mean, come on. It's been like 6 months.
Babadook.
You gotta get out there. You gotta move on. You gotta meet other people.
Babadook, famously known for moving on and accepting things in their
Thank you,
life.
Jeff. Thank you. Thank you for explaining the joke.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, just a dejected Babadook with
This is so sad now.
I mean, it is an avatar of sadness and depression and pain. Yes. But more
that's
so
why
now.
it wasn't working out, really.
It's clingy, you know?
It was a little much. I mean, it was adorable when we first started dating and all, like, how sweet. But then it was like, shh, please do get a life.
Yeah. It's just like
Somebody else's.
Yeah, these long arms are trailing the bouquet on the ground. You just hear Babadook.
I can hear the, like, dejected Christmas Charlie Brown music overlaid.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I will say there's a couple things that are for consideration here, which is one, the Rip Monk game. The Rip Monks game is coming up. It is the homecoming game, which means, of course, there is a homecoming dance and also intra-district social, which actually, Jeff, you hear about from Headmistress Crone. She is trying to once again kind of like really kind of promote unity and also kind of really trying to show off Gravedale High to the rest of the district and trying to, you know, promote like intra-school mixers and stuff like that, because you guys are a relatively small institution. So you kind of would have gotten the menu along with like Mr. Tutner and Miss Dirge and Shop Professor Charles. You guys would have gotten like this directive. So this is kind of what it looks like going into this week before the game. What does this look like for not only Jeff, but for all of you?
What does this look like for, if anybody else has an answer, I got to think about it for a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can, if you guys want to call scenes, absolutely, like family scenes, school scenes, scenes with each other. Let me know. What does this look like for you guys this week?
How close are we to the date of the Battle of the Bands?
I will say that you have probably another couple of weeks before the Battle of the Bands is up. You've got between now and then, you do have, sorry, I'm taking a look at my notes for our timeline here, as it were. We have Spirit Week. We have the Pep Rally. I think, yeah. I think that is just. I think that's the big one for this week is just the homecoming. But you got a couple more before the Battle of the Bands.
Okay, so we're saying what we're doing like during Spirit Week.
Yeah, like, or what does it look like as you guys prepare for like homecoming? Because there's a dance. Like, are you like asking people? Are you waiting to be asked? Like, for,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm expecting to be asked. I'm wondering if I'm going to be a homecoming queen, though.
Yeah, this is.
And I'm getting ready for the game.
Yeah,
I'm a part of that.
Would like to call a scene with Bloberella and anybody else that's in the area. I think I am. I'm trying to decide what my. I think I'm calling a scene where like where are you when I pop into your field of view to ask you about the status of the homecoming dance inter-district social hoedown.
I'm gonna say interesting. I'd love to roll for how well that is actually coming along, but I do think you find her once again in the gymnasium, which is where she usually is in between classes practicing.
I show up, I'm wearing a little cowboy hat.
Oh. No, I mean, it looks great on you.
Thank you. I saw it at the store and I thought it's festive, it's jolly. I can't tell if you're being sarcastic. Anyway, listen, I needed to check in with you. This week, I just got word that the planned holiday hoedown, the homecoming hoedown, is actually going to be the day of the social. So there's going to be a lot of eyes. And what I would like to do, Zach.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to pull a string that I have on Bloberella and specifically tempt her with something that she wants, which is like a stage to show off on, but with the caveat that it comes at this hoedown has to be a big success.
Mm-hmm.
This is me as teacher going, I'm going to motivate you to take this school project serious.
Okay.
Wow.
I love it.
And yeah, what is I think that
there's going to be a lot of people watching. We just found out this is a huge thing, and I need to be able to count on you that this is going to be a success. This is kind of the moment that and I kind of look there. This is kind of the moment where homecoming royalty really steps up and proves that they are worthy of those votes that come in at the homecoming dance at the end of the week.
It sounds like you really need this to go well, Mr. Jeff.
Well, it sounds like anybody that really wants to be homecoming royalty is the person that needs it to go well.
I think I understand what you're saying. So
Okay,
I do this for you and you do something for me, right?
Well, I encourage you to live your best life, but sure.
Oh, I'm doing that, Mr. Duff. Don't worry about that. But I would love, what Blob doesn't dream about being homecoming queen. And I'm sure that the votes that will come in will be for me, but it sounds like you have a way to make sure of that, right?
And
And I'll get you a better hat.
what, is my hat not actually cool?
I mean,
Lied to me.
it's a little small, but we can fix that. I mean, I can make sure that you're like the best dressed teacher there if you want. But yeah, I can make sure this little social is a huge success,
That would look
including
really good.
whatever a hoedown is. But I think that's irrelevant. And in exchange, you make sure that I'm crowned homecoming queen, right?
I think prove yourself, step up, and you won't need to. But I think that arrangements can be made. I think this is going to be a very fruitful partnership.
Oh, I love hearing that. I just love collaborating with the faculty in a way that benefits everybody, including the students. And I really want to make sure that Gravedale shines throughout all of this, obviously. That's always my prerogative.
Of course, of course. I'm so happy to hear that you're going to be committing yourself. I think that we can absolutely make sure that this happens.
Right. And of course, you know, if it turns out that I'm not homecoming queen, well, you'll see just how talented I am at orchestrating stuff around the school.
Understood.
Good God. Okay. I am trying to figure out what freaking moves you guys are trying to roll with here. Because I love every moment of this, but I feel like there's got to be... Because that was perfect as is.
I would like to roll to keep my cool to avoid like committing to the plan wholly, right? Like like I am a teacher kind of feeding her what she wants to hear, and I kind of want to make sure that I'm not actually getting swept up in a scheme to rig homecoming.
Oh, you absolutely are.
Is it a cool keeping competition between you two?
Maybe.
That's pretty good.
All right. Yeah, this is basically who flinches first. So
All right.
both of you roll plus cool, and we'll see what ends up happening.
$12.
Well, all right. I guess I'm rigging homecoming. Is that the same? That's very funny, though, to just be like, yeah, okay, sure. I believe in you. I believe in your best self, and I am willing to destroy this homecoming tradition to make this happen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And thus, you will now unleash my best self, which is to be totally helpful and actually put on a really great homecoming. So we all win here.
Bloberella, go ahead and take +1 forward to act on that at any point in the future on this kind of arrangement.
Now, I do have to ask a question, because it sounds like what you just said was that I have unlocked by accepting to the scheme, I have pushed you to be your best self, which sounds like I have made a material difference in the welfare of one of my students.
That is so true.
I mean, you have,
and
in so many ways.
Which
that means that that is my intimacy move, which means that I gain a string back. I gain my string back on you, and you gain a string on me.
Yeah, I love it. I will also, because I need to update that book, add an experience, Jeff, because that's awesome.
All right, I will.
I am wondering if you've also triggered my intimacy move, because mine is a lot more explicit, so I'm finding ways to like make it not be. And I think you've just done kind of a deal with me.
That sounds right.
So you're now considered part of my gang.
Okay.
You're one of us.
Oh my
Welcome
God.
to the Blob Squad, Mr. Jeff.
Finally.
Finally,
I made it.
Finally.
This is like, honestly, it's just like it's watching stacked counter spells in Magic the Gathering.
You don't know what this means, though, because
I don't think I know I'm in the gang.
I think I'll like shake your hand, like I'll like manifest an appendage to shake on it. I don't know if you feel this or not, but I can hear your thoughts now.
Ooh.
I have a move called the Streamer.
Oh my God. Okay.
So I always know what my squad is really thinking. And
All right.
now you're part of it.
Great. That's great.
So I am curious, what runs through your head in this moment, Jeff, the moment this pseudopod makes contact with your hand?
Oh, it's like it is entirely like is the head tilt like a flirty thing? Is it just a murderer thing? Like, what is going on here? Like, if I go up, is that too sudden? Like, I don't want to be like, you know, super aggressive, because like kind of feel like we're kind of doing a flirty, you know, co-worker thing. I don't know. I got a lot of questions. I don't know what, I can't get a read on this guy.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Bloberella knows.
You got all of that. Excellent. I will say, what does homecoming week look like for for you, Tracy, and for Johnny?
I know for me, it looks like what would Tracy be doing during that week?
What Tracy's doing is dependent on a question I would like to know. What happened to George?
I would also like to know that.
George is in freaking juvenile hall.
Okay, so they actually, there was actual consequences for his behavior.
Yeah, kid was carrying a chef's knife. Like, I don't care if this is a Halloween episode. Like, this is still high school. There are consequences.
He did burn down did some significant arson, which I think is actually the more legally problematic thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you know, like, Jeff, like, my question is, what like punishment would you have meted out that Crone immediately heaped on to?
I think I requested that George be brought into the homeroom for intensive counseling and tutoring. Like, I think this kid's got a future. I think that, like, I just want to make sure that, like, that this kid is getting the attention that they deserve. And then Crone's like, brought a chef's knife to school.
Yeah, exactly. Just like,
all right, fair counterpoint. A fair counterpoint. Sure.
Mr. Stormer, I realize that you staying with us for so long may have skewed your perception somewhat. However, we are still an institution of adolescent education.
Okay, sure. That makes sense. I just wanted, got it. Bringing a knife, that is unacceptable. Scissor hands, it's fair. I'm just making sure that I'm tracking the numbers on what is acceptable and what is not.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Tracy, you have your answer.
With that question answered, I think Tracy has mostly been kind of chill. I'm guessing she didn't get detention or a suspension for turning into the werewolf during class hours because of heroism.
Mm-hmm.
And the incident. So I think she's largely been working on some large protest signs, raising awareness for the planned culling of unicorns.
Yeah.
And I think the sign, there's like one massive banner that she's been working on that she's planning on unveiling at homecoming, or maybe during the football game, in a really obnoxious manner that just says unicorns only killed 16,374 people last year, which is far less than many other creatures, especially human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Save the unicorns.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say this, as you are working on this, you have gotten a bit of a fan club. Ever since kind of rescuing Hank, he has been following you around and like, hey, can I help with anything that you're working on? Or yeah, and like he has offered to like help you with this banner.
I think she mostly just hands him stuff to carry.
Okay, all right. So I don't think you're shutting him down, but I think, yeah, absolutely. He's just like very acquiescent. He's like carrying stuff. He's carrying paint. He's carrying glue. He's carrying glitter, all kinds of stuff. Whenever you say jump, he says how high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dope. Yeah. So she's working on this enormous fuck off banner to display it whatever time is the most inappropriate.
Yeah.
Excellent. Where are you doing that? Like, what room?
I don't think the auditorium I'm imagining is still under like urgent, hasty construction. I'm guessing we're probably gonna have to move homecoming to the gymnasium anyways. But so I think that's both of those areas are not doable. So I think she's actually back outside the school in like the picnic area, where there's like some picnic benches and like I think it's like the old picnic area though. There's like a nice new quad, but this is where like all the old shitty picnic benches got put up, and there's like a really crappy gazebo that like is mostly used by stoners and nobody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so
I think.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So I think that Johnny would come out like one day while Tracy's working and sit on a nearby picnic tabletop, not the bench, because that's for normal people, the table itself. And he would start casually strumming on his still not plugged in electric guitar. Very, very casually. And then eventually he'd, get sort of visibly bored with that and just like walk over to Tracy and be like, "Hey,
Hi. What do you want?
are you and he like tosses his bangs a little bit. Are you going to the dance?"
I considered it. I think Bloberella may have told everybody not to talk to me. So,
Well, I'm talking to you.
that is true. That is true. I'm sorry, Johnny.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, we all deserve to be the people we want to be, right? So maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, if you, do want to go, and you don't, have someone to go with, then, I'd, you can go with me.
Are you confused, or was that the worst attempt to ask somebody to a dance I've ever heard in my entire life?
I have to stop before Johnny puts another word out. I need you to roll to shut someone down, because that is brutal.
I don't even think she. Yeah, fair. What is that? Cold?
Yeah, that's cold.
It's a 7.
All right. On a 7 to 9, choose one from below, but you come across poorly, and they give you a condition in return. They lose a string on you. If they have no strings on you, gain one on them. They gain a condition, or you take +1 forward.
I will take the lose a string on me.
All right. And you come off poorly, and I think it's very easy to see how that happens. Johnny, what do you do?
I am going to use Uncanny Voices. The same thing I used on George. So in exchange for letting Solomon have another string on me, Hopper, you'd reveal one of Tracy's secret fears, secret desires, or secret strengths. I feel like, you can pick something else if you want. It feels like secret desires is the thing that I'm trying to capitalize on here.
Ooh, that's a spicy meatball. What that requires me to think about what motivates Tracy. I think. So does this just come across like mentally, or does she accidentally say it? Or how does this play out, like, mechanically?
I think this is completely up to Johnny. Like, how does this manifest? Is this just like a flash to you, or?
Well, the way that you did it with George was that it was Solomon was doing the work, and I don't think that the person experiencing it knows what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Solomon sees it, and then Solomon says it to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I think Tracy is actually really scared. She's worried that all the hard work that she does and all the stuff that she works on and cares about really gets swept under the rug by everything else. And she's scared that she's not going to get into a good college. Then even if she does, she's really scared because she doesn't know if she can really leave home. She can't, there's almost nowhere she can go easily or safely. And she doesn't want to leave her grandpa and her mom. but she also doesn't want to be stuck in this fucking town forever. And she's really desperate to find something in the middle ground.
I think as you kind of like are looking at Tracy, I think you look past her, just because I think something draws your eye, and you just see Zalman in his true form looking at you, and you just hear, "Hey," in your mind. And as you hear it, you see this flash of what Tracy's going through.
Okay. Did you say earlier that because of the 7, I'm giving Tracy a condition? Is that part of this? Okay, so that's why I'm doing this, because my goal here is to walk away from this exchange where Tracy has not changed her answer, but she's like more off kilter than when we started. So I think Johnny says, Johnny just sort of like is quiet for a second after the shutdown move, and then finally is just like, I know what it feels like to be stuck between where you are and where you want to be. So if you want to be stuck there with someone else, you can come and find me. And then he walks off.
I think she like looks like she's about to say like say something, and like, but is just like, yeah, a little bit like skewered in that moment, and just kind of yeah. Well, fuck, now I feel bad.
I will say this, Johnny, completely oblivious, like your heart and your kind of mind set on this moment. You walk out of eye shot here, and completely oblivious, you pass by a very deep looking shadow on one of the kind of like the administrative buildings on your way back. And you just see the shadow move as a hooded, robed figure steps out and follows you as you walk. One last thing I will say before we go to break. It is the eve before the night of the homecoming dance, Bloberella. And everybody has asked you, all of your exes desperately have been trying to ask you to go to the dance. But one person hasn't. And that's Sal. And that, like kind of chewing on that knowledge, that is where we're going to take our break. Well, so basically, we find ourselves now having learned that people have been asking each other out to dances and rebuffing each other. You know, there's a will they, won't they kind of relationship ongoing between Mr. Stormer and Mr. Voorhees. But all of that has been kind of shuffled to the side for one moment as we kind of tell me, what does the Blobenstein home look like, Bloberella?
It's taking everything within my power to be semi-serious and not to say a bouncy castle. But just know, I just want you to know that that is that is in my heart, that is in my soul. But that's not what it is, because Jeff's gone, baby.
We lost Jeff.
Great stream, everybody.
I think it's a nice middle class, maybe slightly upper middle class New England kind of aesthetic colonial house. It's not a bouncy castle shaped like that. I want it to be so bad. Yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it looks like a normal house on a normal street. And you would never suspect that a blob family lives inside of it.
Excellent. So, staring opposite of you, ingesting your biomass for the morning, you see Bob Blobenstein Esquire, staring opposite of you at the breakfast table. Let me ask you: is Bob a single parent, or is the mom in the picture? Are there grandparents?
There's definitely a mom in the picture. This has big live, laugh, love energy. I think there's some signs around the house that are like, bless this mess.
Yeah,
quite literally, because I mean,
This house is
cleaning this house is real intense.
Well,
That's what the sign says. Like it's like BoJack Horseman style. It says bless this mess and in parentheses because seriously cleaning this house is like serious business.
I told him not to print that.
Yeah, you see your father has ingested the Gravedale Gazette and is slowly, you just see it dissolving inside of his center mass. Adjacent to it is a very nicely appointed briefcase that's seen better days. And you just see him kind of like completely oblivious as he's kind of like absorbing this knowledge as well as the biomass for today. By the way, what's for breakfast?
I'm not sure. I know like Bloberella might be indulging in sugary cereal. It doesn't really add any nutritional value at all, but it's really fun, and she likes how the Fruit Loops look inside of her.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So these
It's for the aesthetics.
These Fruit Loops are slowly but surely dissolving.
You shouldn't give me any power over any more descriptions for the rest of the night.
No, absolutely. I love it. And you just see, I think there's probably a little bit of like a pile of uneaten Fruit Loops to one side, at which point Fruit Loops, Foot Loops. Yes. Yes, you're eating Kevin Bacon for Footloose.
I mean, bacon's right there in the title, so I mean, it's part of this complete and balanced breakfast.
Absolutely. Your mother. What's your mother's first name, by the way?
Damn, I was really hoping you wouldn't ask because I need to come up with something funny.
I have a. Is it Uzana?
Uvana?
Uzana is very good, though.
Okay. Yeah,
that's what it is. Yeah, Bob and Uzana.
Bob and Uzana. Uzana has just kind of like is kind of looking, kind of looming over you a little bit and swaying, and you just hear y'all's mental connection echo into your mind, and you just hear your mother say, "Oh, sweetie, you haven't touched much of your biomass today. Is everything okay?"
No, I'm fine. I worked really hard on all the stuff for homecoming, and we have to do the game and the dance and the social. It was a lot. I'm just tired, I think.
Oh, sweetie, I know how much this matters to you, but how much did you get a chance to sleep? Have you been eating all of the biomass we asked you to, all the people you meet? People are a part of a balanced kind of food pyramid for us.
Yeah, I had a whole person yesterday. So and I made sure it was white meat. So I'm trying to be healthy.
Yeah, you just hear like just
I
like
should not have looked down at Aubrey's expression.
you just hear an approving from Bob across the table as he is enjoying the newspaper.
Yeah, I know. It's just there is a boy I was hoping would ask me to dance. He hasn't asked me yet.
Yeah. At which point, just Bob kind of comes alive a little bit. A boy. What's this now? And you just hear Uvana just say, "No, Bob. No, Uvana, Uvi, we need to make sure that our daughter is setting boundaries and we understand what is going on in her life."
I know about boundaries. It's fine. It's just whatever, There's gonna be others. I mean, they were practically lighting up. Literally. In fact, some of them were actually lining up.
Oh. You just make sure that whoever you are meeting for this dance is actual bona fide good material, good people for absorbing. Only the best for my daughter.
She's like mouthing along to it, like she's heard this speech before every time she's brought home a new bow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dad, I'm making sure. I mean, come on. I'm like, I'm 16. I don't need to be absorbing things yet.
Good. I'm very glad to hear it. Look, anyway, I actually am running a little bit late. Uvi, if you wouldn't mind just helping clean up here, I promise I'll make it up to you. And of course, your mother just says, okay, but this is the third time in a row. I need you to pull your sludge around here. Fine. I will do this as soon as I get back from the office. I will do a clean sweep. Okay. And you just see two pseudopods just touch very gently. And Bob slides
Gross.
out of the house.
And the army of Roombas come out.
Exactly.
Backdoor pilot for the Blobensteins.
Yeah, absolutely. You see, but there is a moment when your mother just kind of like waits until Bob is out of the house and then kind of just sidles up and then sits opposite of you and kind of wiggles at you opposite on the breakfast table and just says, now, sweetie, I know that we haven't had the talk yet.
Oh my God, Mom, in front of my cereal.
Look, I am just saying there are points in a young blob's life when she is ready to commit
gross
to someone and like to take the next step in her life as a young blob. Young amorphous
I'm gonna be
ooze.
late. I'm gonna be late for school, and education is so important.
Yes, I
have to get out of here.
Sweetie, just when you absorb somebody, just make sure you're ready to asexually reproduce on your timetable.
She absorbs her backpack and her cheerleader outfit and then races out the door.
What was it? We are a mitosis positive household.
God damn it.
And yeah, your mother.
Zach, you're creating too much division in this relationship.
Absolutely. You hustle out all of this angst, all of this anxiety, or like, I don't even know if it manifests as anxiety, like, at the forefront of your consciousness, so much as it's just like lingering in the back. You are throwing yourself into this hoedown, just to distract from the fact that, and I'm taking a little bit of license here. I don't know if like, are you kind of like doing this to kind of throw yourself off of the situation with Zolomon, or what are you doing?
Oh, I'm a consummate professional. No, I'm just very good at what I do. I mean, yes, it is a little of column A and a little bit of column B, but I think that with the project, Bloberella is actually really good at doing research and doing all this stuff. She actually likes art and history and theater. It's just that she doesn't like anyone to know that, because if they did, it might cause some problems. So she does a lot of that research at home, and she sketches out how she wants everything to look like there, and then she just brings it with her to school and passes it off to her underlings as if she got it from somebody else, and is just sort of reigning dictator over how they're going to create it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's this moment where you kind of are pushing the blob squad against like kind of like their breaking point. I feel like at some point,
I mean, we can't really break, but
yeah, exactly.
I see what you mean.
True. Yeah. Just past their massive,
You're stretching them to their limit.
Yeah, stretching them to their limit of like maximum ductility. So yeah, like what does this look like as Gelatina is just looking at you, just staring at, just like, I don't even know what a hoedown is. Why are we doing this thing? I thought, like, when did we narc out for freaking Mr. Stormer of all people?
I mean, do you want a good social so we can show off the school to all of the other schools that are in the neighborhood? Or do you want to look like a fucking loser?
Look,
get it together, Gelatina.
Look, I want to do that, but I would prefer to do that without doing an enormous amount of work for what feels like very little payoff.
Just think about how many freaking accolades that you're gonna get for putting this whole thing together, because the whole school knows that we're the ones doing it. Duh.
I would like you to roll to turn someone on, and this is like your blob squad is still very much like, you know, in this with you, but Gelatina has always like been the snake kind of like behind your back. So what is this? And you can spend a string on her if you would like.
I think I might do that. Remind me what that does again.
So when you pull a string on someone, you can spend a string. You can choose to tempt them to do what you want, give them a condition, add one to your roll against them, or add one to the harm you deal them.
I'm gonna give her a condition.
Okay.
And I will. Should I wait for that condition until after I roll?
Go ahead and roll. And wait, I don't think you roll for this. Actually, unless like maybe it's more interesting to roll here, but like roll with dark, because I think this is like manifesting yourself, like you're like the queen bee psychic energy here.
Whew, that could have been bad. A 7.
Okay.
I have that -1 to dark.
They can either, I will say this. Yeah, let me see. -1 to dark. I think that she's gonna do this, but like, what is this? What are you pulling here? What do you want to use when you pull this string?
Well, I said I wanted to give her a condition, and what the condition is put in her place. Like she's choosing to have this out with me in public while we're actively putting everything together, so everyone is seeing me. Just
that is the caveat. That's kind of like the flip side of this, is there is just that moment where your darkest self, just like they see the sliver of it. Like, what do you say to get her to fall in line?
Gelatina, sweetie, we're gonna do this because we, the Blob Squad, are the ones that run this school, and I am the one that runs this squad. And so when I tell you that we're gonna be doing this social and making all of this stuff for the homecoming, all you have to say is, Bloberella, no problem. I'll get right on it. And that's all I want to hear from you. And from the rest of you. Because if this isn't perfect, I will ruin you. And I mean that because I really don't want to do that. Obviously not. It's just that, you know, there's a little story that I'm reminded of when we were in 6th grade that I'm sure you don't want anyone else to know about. And right now, that stays between us. And of course, I'm happy to keep all of your secrets. I always have been. You're my bitch. What do you take me for? But if you don't actually do what I ask you to do, there's going to be hell to pay.
Your circulatory system, the very faint translucent one inside of the blob, has turned a very dark shade of red momentarily. And I think it kind of like as you regain your composure, that translucency returns. And
all right, good talk, everybody. I'm loving the hustle, and I think this all looks great.
Yeah, and before you kind of like break, Gelatina says exactly what you told her to say verbatim, and just like, I am on it. And the blob,
love it. We love it.
The blob squad turns and returns back. Jeff, there is a night where you're at home, I think, away from the school. And I need to change the audio a little bit. Like, how far away do you reside from from Gravedale.
I think I have an apartment nearby. It is an extremely crappy apartment on top of, like, above a Taco Bell so that we can get the Taco Bell in the shot. That's product placement. It is a disgusting, tiny little miserable apartment that is the most this is a TV teacher's apartment that we have ever seen.
CW's Gravedale High, sponsored by Taco Bell. Yeah, absolutely.
Live Moss.
Live Moss. Bong. Yeah, so you are, I think there's a night where you're just kind of like staring into the middle distance, kind of wondering, well, what am I going to do? Like, you know, does he even like me? And you just see a brick fly through your window with something tied and attached to it.
I guess I'm gonna look at what's on the brick that just flew through my window.
Yeah, absolutely. On this brick, written in a childlike scrawl, with a heart at the end of it, is
Nice.
"Would you like to chaperone the dance with me?" Hyphen J.
Is there a yes/no?
Yes, there is a yes/no, and it looks like some of this like has just been like scrawled in a heavy hand, you know, just like breaking a pencil or breaking whatever writing implement he was using at the time. But yeah, it's a very heartfelt, terrifying note thrown through your window.
I gently circle I grab a pen, I gently circle yes. I kind of underhand toss it out the window. I go sit very kind of gleefully in my chair, and then the one thing we see before we cut away is my phone rings. I don't know, somebody threw a brick through my window. That's not on me. That's on you. That's in the lease. That is on you. And then
Excellent. Okay. All right. So while this is happening, Johnny, what does practice look like for you with Eddie? Like, you know, Eddie's rocking out on bass. Like, what does like practice time look like for you as you're like the weeks are ticking down to the Battle of the Bands?
I think practice looks like I'll be generous and say it's like 15%, you know, actually rehearsing songs, working on our instrumentation. 85% like getting high and talking about like what the cover of the first album would look like. The typeface for the band logo, how to get more people to join the band. Yeah, I think that's what most of practice looks like.
Yeah, excellent. I think you guys are having this talk, and like Eddie is just like looking at you and just saying, well, you know, I guess we should try to get somebody like else. Like, I mean, you're doing great on, we need a drummer though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking we need a drummer.
Hell, there is an animated skeleton in Home Economics that uses his rib cage as a xylophone, but I don't know, like, did you have anybody in mind, maybe? Somebody with, like, an understanding of percussion?
So Johnny doesn't quite know how to respond to this because he still wants Samara to join the band, but he has to figure out how to justify that somehow. And he's like, I don't know, I was thinking about the girl in our homeroom with like the long hair. She seems like she'd be good at drums, right?
Yeah, definitely, like all that like motion. Like, can you imagine just like with a couple of drumsticks just going nuts.
Yeah, it's like she moves, but also doesn't move.
Yeah.
I don't really get it, but it's pretty fucking cool. It's real metal.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, what happened to the original, like, folks you used to play with for Darkophagus?
Oh no. um you know, it was, you know, my cousin and a couple of our friends. It was like me and some older guys, and like we were all like super talented, you know, and we just sort of decided we should go our own way and like spread the talent out into lots of different acts, you know. So it was just too hot keeping it all focused in one band. So now I'm just trying to, you know, sort of spread that out.
Absolutely. And he just like nods sagely at this, like, yeah, you know what? I got a feeling things are gonna take off for us. Like Darkophagus is really gonna be real fucking metal, man.
Yeah.
So like same time on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, what day is it again?
Technically we started on Monday and now it's Tuesday.
Hold on, let me think about that. Yeah, Wednesday sounds. I'll trust you. That sounds right.
Awesome. All right, I'll see you in a bit. And as he pulls up the garage door to leave, you see a small horde of robed figures with dark hoods obscuring their faces. They're all kind of like watching the two of you, but all of their attention seems to be on you, Johnny.
All of my rats immediately like pyramid themselves in front of me.
Yeah. At which
defensively.
Yeah. At which point, all of them, like, as like you've formed this defensive like rat horde pyramid, you just see somebody, one of like ostensibly like the leader of these like robed figures, moves forward and pulls a sheet of paper from the middle of his kind of like this filth encrusted robe, and points in front of it is the flyer that you put out asking for new band members. And like among some of these like little like slips that you have like taken is there's like backup vocalists and drummer. And this guy, I think, just looks and takes the drummer slip, and you see another cultist move forward that has cut off robes with gigantic massive arms with sweat bands on the wrists, and you just see him flicking a drumstick, face still obscured, and just looking at you and Eddie expectantly. You can feel their eyes on you.
I think Johnny is visibly intimidated, but he goes, auditions are on Wednesday.
At which point the lead cultist throws up the horns. And we are gonna cut to the night of the homecoming game. All right, so the night of the homecoming game, like slash home, like hoedown, like I'm trying to figure out where the schedule happens here, right? Is the hoedown happening the same night of the game? I feel like everything has to happen on this day, right?
Everything happens on the
Typically, the game happens and then there's like a dance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the game, like it's like the after. It's like this either the celebration or the quiet misery of we lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like in all high school media, all the important stuff happens in a single day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's because the writers really lose track of time and maybe sometimes did mean for it to be over multiple nights, but then realized that they never specified that.
That was very specific.
Yeah. Hold on. I gotta get my rock track on here.
But I wouldn't know anything about that.
Sure.
Yeah. It is like, honestly, tell me what it looks like as the Rip Monks play, because it's like Varsity Blues meets CW budget. What does that look like for you guys? As Bloberella, you are leading up the cheer squad. Tracy, you're in the band. Like, Johnny, where are you in all this? And yeah.
Can I throw out a visual that is very funny?
Yes, absolutely.
So this is I think that for me the funniest option, and I'm just gonna throw out what I think the funniest option is to just look at what is unfolding at face value, that this is a team of literal monsters going up against a team of, let's be honest, high school football
Regular
players.
high school kids.
This is like, we get a montage of just violence.
Carnage.
like
Yeah.
like a big green ogre just picks somebody up and
Yeah.
like spine busters them.
I have
Blood Bowl vibes.
There's a crocodile boy absolutely tearing through people like tissue paper.
yeah, I was gonna say I have 3 words for everyone: Mutant League football.
Like football.
Absolutely.
We just see the parents of the norms just like.
Yeah, it's just like, oh God,
Not intervening, just being horrified.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you just like
Football is a ghastly game.
yeah, exactly. Like the score, the clock runs out. It's 49-0. And you just say, looks like another loss this year for the Centerville Norms. What do you think there, Igor, about what we just watched transpire? I enjoyed it considerably. Well, good. Thanks so much. Looking forward to next year. So once again, closing out this great opener of the season for Homecoming here at Gravedale High. And so basically everybody is in a rare mood for this hoedown. I will tell you this, Jeff, when you arrive, Jason is wearing his best set of overalls. It's a pristine kind of hockey mask in lieu of the sack that he normally wears. And also, you're noticing now that those big, thick gloves that he wears are off, and, just over the dirt encrusted fingernails is a very nice green, kind of like pale green nail polish and clear coat on top. It's just he's and there's even like a little on top of his name tag. There's just a little nice flower in the just like pinned to it.
Did the cheerleaders help him put this together?
Oh, I would hope so.
Because Bloberella knows and has known for a hot minute. And I think she has she's been threatening about it, but she's actually like very invested and actually a little bit excited.
Yeah.
Somewhere network executives at the CW are already planning the spin-off series of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jason deserves this.
Yeah, Jason and Jeff, a love story. Yeah, so I want to say, like, honestly, like, the next thing that I think happens with this is also with Jeff. I think you just occasionally hear and you just see Jason kind of like trying to incline his head a little bit less perceptibly at you, and then kind of like immediately shifts back to rigid when you turn to look at him.
I'm gonna call for a scene, but how I want to call for a scene is I walk up, I throw out my arm, like, shall we? And we lock arms. Actually, it's more like this.
Yeah.
There's a notable height difference. every other
Absolute-
step I'm kind of like hopping a little bit, but like as this is happening, I look over and I have to throw a question to Hopper. I loosen my arms. Hopper, where is Tracy as this is unfolding?
Well, if we're at the dance, I think Tracy is trying to look incredibly unsuspicious. And there is very sneakily a banner that has been set up. And it's so the idea is that she'll press a button and it'll roll down. I'm guessing over, it's probably somewhere like pretty dramatic. So she's just she's here. She is wearing I think I think Tracy did dress up to try to look like she belongs there, but mostly because she feels sad.
I think I see Tracy and I kind of like lose my arm from Jason. I'm like, I'll meet you inside. Save me a dance. And
there's a curt nod, and then the whole body shifts once again. That massive center of gravity just moving forward.
And I kind of just like walk up, like not necessarily like looking at Tracy, but like looking around at the various decorations. I kind of hands in my pockets, like pushing the suit jacket back, hands in the pockets, like, you seen all of these decorations? This place just looks great. Really, man, I know they came together in a hurry, but you know, the people that worked on this, they really did something special and they should be proud. And I hope that they know the kinds of futures that wait for people that commit so much to making art that is so, so beautiful.
I will say, for posterity for the stream, we ended up rolling the job that Bloberella did on setting up this hoedown. And with +1 forward, she rolled a 15 total.
And with well, I should note, when I say all of this, like, you did build a bunch of the set material, correct? I'm not like,
some of it did survive the fire.
I think I'm like gesturing kind of pointedly at the stuff that Tracy made as I say this, and I'm like, you know, I just hope that whoever built this really knows what a future there is and how many opportunities there are that make people that make things this beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, well, that's the thing is, like, the reason I kind of like, I realized I cited Bloberella there is like, what has Bloberella done to take advantage of this kind of work as well? Like how pointed is this?
Interesting. Because she definitely did her own designs, as she was like tasked to do. I don't know if, like, in her own haste about putting everything together, she's like callously pushed some of Tracy's designs into the more of the background than the foreground. But because Bloberella has been asked to do this work, she wants just to make sure her actual stuff is seen. I think it's more of an act of indifference to Tracy's designs than it is any malice of forethought towards them.
I'm picturing like a bunch of like cactuses survived and they're shoved off in corners. Like it's all, like there's a lot. The room would definitely probably be a lot emptier.
Yeah.
But there, none of it is in for like all the good stuff got burned. And then, so it's a lot of this extra little.
Then the way that this shot is constructed is very intentional, right? Like we're getting into shot construction. Jeff's back is turned to the camera as he is saying. We get occasional close-up shots, but his back is largely turned to the camera. And the thing that's in focus in the background is one of those corner cacti that he's like very specifically like laser eyes on her work as he's like rattling off like really just an amazing aesthetic. They should be so proud.
Excellent. I'm curious, like, Tracy, how are you feeling in the middle of this spectacle? As Jeff sings your praises, but also you know that Bloberella has been at work with her machinations and her squad, as it were.
I think Tracy feels very lonely because this last year was a shift from like the last couple of years have been a shift from having a friend group and losing a dad and then reconnecting with a grandfather, but she's lost all her peer group. She doesn't have any peer group. So for here, this is a space that feels fraught and hostile. So I think it is interesting. Like, I think that substitute teacher Jeff Stormer, I keep being like, what's Jeff's character's name? And then I'm like, oh wait, that's right. So when Mr. Jeff is just talking about this, I think she's a smart kid. She picks up what he's putting down. But I'm trying to decide. I think she's still in full on bitey passive aggressive mode. So I think she's just gonna try to. I think she's wallowing. She's very much wallowing because it feels like I don't need your help. Just because I'm sad and lonely and everything sucks doesn't mean I need any assistance with feeling better.
I would love to push this even further and pull a string on you.
Ooh, fair.
And tempt you with something that you want, which is like, I am tempting you specifically because what you want is that validation. You've had this tough year, you're scared. And what I want from you is, even if you don't acknowledge it, I want you to, what I want from you is, even if you do not acknowledge it, I want you to to feel like, to own it, right? Like, I want you to, I want you to own what you've done here, even if you don't, even if in this moment you're wallowing. The string that I'm tempting you with is I'm giving that validation, but I want you to kind of walk away from this feeling it and kind of owning it.
Yeah, so I think you see her kind of biting her lip and just kind of like looking. Does it really?
Brought the theme to life, wouldn't be the same without it.
All kind of feels pointless. It feels like, I don't know, what's that old phrase old people use? Rearranging deck chairs on something? That really old movie.
I think I paused.
Oh, the Titanic. You know, that super old classic movie.
Your GM, your MC is slowly but surely turning to dust.
I'm turning to dust. So both you and me both. I think hiding the wins. You know, sometimes the work feels that way. I can't deny it, but you got to take the moments when you can. You know, you gotta, even if it's fleeting, even if it's a snowman, even if we're making angels in the snow and the snow's gonna melt, we got to appreciate the snowman while it's there. Have fun at the dance. And I give a smile and kind of walk off.
Love it. As you kind of walk off, everybody who is everybody in Gravedale is here. There are a selection of triumphant football Ripmunk players who are just really kind of rejoicing. They're drinking victory punch. Everybody is having a great time. People are just trafficking in and out. There are even some some Norm's parents here that are are being futilely consoled by Headmistress Crone, as well as a number of members of their very sheepish looking student body, as there are vampires that are parading around did you see when I ripped that guy's head off? Oh my god! And meaning it very literally. Johnny, where are you in all of this? You've been practicing a lot. You've gotten the cult started on some really great this act here, but what does this look like for you?
This is during the dance?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the thing is let me ask you, are you at the dance or are you someplace else?
I think I'd be dance adjacent. I certainly wouldn't be in it, because I would not want to chance running into Tracy.
Yeah.
But I would be nearby because of the urgency of recruiting more people, or at least finding validation from more people. So I think I'd be like wherever people are ducking out of the dance for like a cigarette or to smoke weed or whatever. Like that's where I am. Like me and Eddie probably. Unless Eddie has a date.
Eddie does have a date. Eddie has mentioned that he had that he was gonna come out and meet out with you after the dance.
Okay.
So that is the first thing, like kind of a priori, you know. But as you're kind of like waiting dance adjacent, a couple of these guys have been following you now. The guys with like the robes, like there's always at least one around. They're like kind of following you almost like your rats.
Okay.
So that is a true fact about what is going on there. But as you're like adjacent, people are coming out to smoke cigarettes, like people are coming out to smoke joints. And somebody you see is Sadako, the Ringu girl, out kind of like in a very nice dress, her hair still obscuring all of her face, but her arms are kind of folded and she has like a little corsage on her wrist. What do you do seeing this figure?
So just a little behind the scenes thing about Johnny. I gave him an advancement, and the advancement that I picked was to raise his hot score by 1, from -1 to 0.
Yes.
Which to me represents that he is slowly becoming the person that he wants to be. It's not clear if that's him or Zalman doing it, but it is happening.
Absolutely.
And so I think
the clear answer to who is doing it is Canada's #1 rock band, the multi-time Juno award-winning Canadian Music Hall of Famers, the Bare Naked Ladies.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have no comment on the ramifications of that scene. No comment.
None.
Nope. I do think that Johnny is like, he's like probably sitting on an amp, like a battery operated amp, with like big baggy jeans and like his hood pulled up over his head, and he's playing guitar. And then when he sees her come out, I think he gets up and goes over and is like gonna go for round 2 with her, because he, especially after the thing with George, where like George did this thing to shut down Tracy, and within the same day Johnny like wiped that piece off the board. I think like that has like made him feel like he's a new person, whether that is true or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So he comes up to her and is like, "Hey, how's it going?"
I have to interject, because as you are walking up to her, who wanders out from the exit of the of kind of like the audit, like the new, not the new auditorium. I feel like this is going to be like the repurposed dining hall at this point. But Salomon, who has 2 cigarettes in hand, one lit, and he hands one to Sadako, who pokes it through her long hair between her lips, and he bends forward and lights with the ember end of his own cigarette. What do you do?
I think I just look at him and I'm like, "What's up, cuz?"
Hey, cuz. Good to see you again. How's the band coming, man?
It's coming pretty good.
Yeah.
We're most of the way there.
Awesome. Well, you know, Sadako here is she's been actually really helping me with some of my own musical stuff too. I figured you know, Maybe she'd learn me a thing or two.
Oh, cool. And then I turn to her and I'm like, what's your instrument?
And you just, I think there is this, I think, I'm trying to figure out how she would communicate. And
Can I suggest she communicates via flashes of grainy VHS video footage in your head?
Yeah, absolutely. You just see, like, I think there is like a shot of a horse that seems to be dying in the middle of a grassy, barren field. There is a circle of light piercing through a well, and then there's a shot of her just moving her finger in front of a theremin, going. And at which point you get the whole thing, and you realize it's a very short flashback. So she's like, you realize she's kind of speaking to you curtly.
Yeah. Okay. I think Johnny is like, and he like hesitates for a beat, and he's like, metal, like uncertain about it. And he goes, we could really use something exotic in our band's sound.
Okay. So I think, yeah, you are trying to turn someone on. Now, remind me, Zalman has a string on you, right?
He has 2 strings on me, actually.
All right.
Because I've used Uncanny Voices twice.
I am going to...
Although, actually, if you... Is the cult character, like, in the band now?
That is completely up to you. Do they pass muster?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
With those arms?
Absolutely. Okay. So yeah.
So that would mean that Dark Recruiter had happened in the meantime, which means that I would have gotten experience, and also Solomon would have lost a string on me, and instead would have gained a string on that character.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
So he does still have 1 on me.
He is going to use 1 on you to lessen your roll by 1 here, as he kind of like, I think he kind of like narrows his eyes at you, and there's a little half smirk on his face. So go ahead and roll to turn someone on here, because I think that's what you're trying to do.
Now, while you roll, can I ask a quick question and throw in a visual that I need to exist solely for my own amusement?
Yeah, absolutely.
Zach, do you know, do you have a clear picture of who Eddie is with at this dance? And if not, can I throw something out?
Please throw something out.
I think that we get the briefest of cutaways to a slow dance that is currently happening at the dance. And Eddie is slow dancing specifically with just a small puzzle box. And as he's dancing, he's just twisting pieces on the puzzle box.
Yeah, at which point, just suddenly, you opened the box, and I came. At which,
gulp.
God damn it, Blink 182. At which point, you just now see Eddie kind of swaying with a Cenobite. So. Did I pick up what you were putting down?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just learned way too much about what turns Eddie on.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, absolutely. So, roll to turn someone on for me, would you, Johnny?
So with the -1, that is a 7.
Okay. So on a 7 to 9, they can either give you a string or choose one of the following reactions. I give myself to you, I promise something I think you want, or I get embarrassed and act awkward. Okay, so here's what I think happens is it works. Whatever this kind of plea to Sadako is. Because, you are bringing this kind of almost magnetism, this kind of charisma that you are beginning to latently manifest to bear here. And I think this nonchalance, this kind of coolness actually pays off. And you realize that I think that Sadako kind of like shimmers a little bit and basically kind of steps back a couple of steps, not out of like, you get away from me, but more like, okay. And you've caught her like very embarrassed and awkward, at which point she takes the cigarette out and stamps it out in the ground and just kind of like nods and bows to Solomon really quickly, but not before you just see her shimmer, and you feel something in your pocket before she shimmers back, and kind of like hustles back into the food auditorium. The dining hall.
Nope. Dining hall's out. Food auditorium's in.
The food auditorium it is.
Hold up.
Food auditorium.
I think we all need a moment to digest that.
Yeah, there's a bronze plaque on the door that says the Stoker Food Auditorium.
Yep.
Oh, but a cafeteria for vampires is an auditorium.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
People-
Yeah. Exactly.
There are several chandeliers in the auditorium that are like precariously placed, just in case they need to dramatically fall. In case, there is the soundtrack of the soundtrack of the dance is entirely an organ that is being played 30 stories below the food auditorium.
And it's still it's still a country theme.
It's still going to be a hoedown.
This is very interesting.
The music is being provided by the Phantom of the Opera.
I didn't realize that was an option of somebody that we could date here. I'd like to revise my character.
This is very much a genre bender, guys.
It's the Phantom of the Hootenanny.
Yes.
It's not a pipe organ. It's goddamn the whistle blow.
So good.
Yeah, it's like
jug blowing.
It's one of the pianos from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
I was thinking it's less like boom, 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 and instead it's more like boom, 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 boom. I'm sorry.
I'm feeling personally attacked. I will be murdering everybody off screen when this is over.
Perfect.
Phantom of the game show just popped fully into my head, and I need that now.
Awesome. I love it.
American Ninja Warrior, but there's some dude.
What? So Johnny,
So I think as soon as she leaves, I lean over to Solomon and I'm like, hey, try not to forget who you're here for, huh?
And you just see a couple of fanged gritted, like the gritting of fanged teeth, as he says, I'll try not to. And he steps back into the food auditorium. I will say this, Bloberella, we haven't really, excuse me.
Yes.
We haven't really covered what you've been up to this entire time. Zal never asked you to the dance.
That's his loss.
Yeah, dozens have, however, and all, like, you feel more than a few sets of eyes, and some of which, like, some sets of eyes are more than two, kind of like admiring you from afar.
Well, I think as the head cheerleader, she's not been at a loss for dance partners, even if no one specifically asked her to this dance, especially since Rip Monks won. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, go Rip Monks.
Go Rip Monks.
So, you know, she's been filling out her dance card with willing partners.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I think... yeah, just at one point you see a figure moving forward very quickly, Babadook, and then but immediately get intercepted by Vinny Stoker, the local vampire greaser. So, how you been? And you know, just kind of like you guys take a quick twirl around the floor. what else is like kind of like passing through your mind as all of this is transpiring?
I want to stream into my squad and see what's going on with both Gelatina, Titania, Ubri, and now Jeff.
Yeah. I will say this, Gelatina, Ubri, they're all kind of like swelling Punch. They're all kind of like taking this in. They're taking a look at all of the people that are kind of streaming in. And you just notice that like in their thoughts, they're being incredibly vicious. This is kind of like par for course. This is basically Mean Girls. Oh, and yeah. And you just see like some of like Gelatina seems to be simmering and seething more than normal.
Well, that doesn't matter because everything looks great. I'm gonna sort of like dance my way over into Jeff's direction and stop and be like, so what do you think?
I think it looks amazing.
Right?
This is incredible. You really outdid yourself.
I know. Do I deliver or do I deliver?
I think it looks incredible.
I do want to interject at one point. Vinny comes over and says, hey, we were dancing.
All right, Vinny. I'm just checking in with Mr. Jeff because, he helps put everything together.
Hey, nobody just leaves me, Vinny Stoker, on the floor. Nobody.
Watch me.
And he kind of steps back a couple of steps, but he's just like eyeing daggers at you. I need you to roll to shut somebody down right now.
Freaking vampire incels. Everywhere. 10?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, basically on a 10 up, choose one from blue. They lose a string on you. If they have no strings on you, you gain one on them. They gain a condition, or you take one forward. What do you do?
Condition incel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but
like, what is this?
There's just something really off about as you're kind of like stepping back and he's kind of like looking at you. It is exactly like this kind of sociopathic look as he's kind of like making eye contact before kind of like shaking his head and then turning and angrily walking back onto the floor.
Sorry about that, boys.
You know what, teenagers, I get it.
So about our whole arrangement,
I have a devilish scheme in mind. I think I've got just the thing in mind to pull off what we have in mind. In fact, I think it's time to put the plan into action. And I kind of start to like slink. So what happens is we follow me as I slink back behind the food auditorium curtain. And what we see back there, if I may, is 3 very exhausted looking teachers smoking a pile of folded paper ballots that have not been counted because we're not spending the time counting individual student ballots, and like 3 portraits on the wall with darts near them. I just walk up. Hey, have we picked someone yet? Can I make a case for somebody?
Yeah, at which point I think it's Mr. Tutner, it's Miss Sturge, and definitely kind of like Professor Chuck or Professor Charles, I should say. They're all like looking at and Charles is this tiny cursed doll that's like just kind of like going through all the slips and like trying to like looking at this pile of dart and just like, well, who'd you have in mind?
And I think that what I want to emphasize that Bloberella is hearing all of this as I say it.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, we all know Homecoming Court is a PR play, and Sid, he's class president, he's school mascot, he's photographer for the yearbook. He's gonna be fine. Bloberella, she's a good kid with a passionate heart. She just needs a push to be made to care, and if she's homecoming queen with all the responsibilities that come with that, Honestly, I just think we can make a real difference in a kid with real potential. I think like we can throw darts at a board, or we can do something right this time. What do you say?
I think that you are trying to turn someone on, or is there another move you are doing?
Let me look at my moves real quick and see if I've got a specific move for this. I do not, so I will roll to try and turn someone on.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is double sixes.
Whoa!
This is the wildest game dice wise that I have seen in ages. So
Yeah.
that is an 11 total with a -1 hot.
Yeah, at which point I think that Charles takes a look at you, is kind of picking up what you're putting down. I think Tutner and Miss Dirge, Miss Dirge is the Banshee music teacher, is just kind of like looking on, and I think there is a long shrill note of assent, and at which point, and oddly haunting, you feel it in the depths, the pit of your stomach and your heart as she says it. But you realize it's an acquiescence, at which point Mr. Tutner, the history teacher, just says, well, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't go ahead and...
Plus, it means that we can dump these notes in a trash can. I do not want to continue counting ballots.
Oh, thank Anubis. And just like they just tip over the votes, at which point, don't worry, some custodian will get it at a different time. And yeah, they decide to roll with your plan. At which point, I think you kind of... Do you guys do anything before you return to the food auditorium dance hall hoedown?
I think I have just a moment, like the teachers all kind of leave towards the auditorium. I have a moment where I just kind of adjust my very nice tuxedo jacket. I am wearing I don't know if I mentioned this. I'm wearing an elaborate tuxedo because this was a special night for me.
But with a cowboy hat?
It does have a little tiny matching cowboy hat. I adjust and I'm like, I'm pretty good at this teaching thing. As I kind of walk out.
Hey Jeff, how's your cowboy hat match your tuxedo?
It's the same material as the lapel, so it's that kind of slightly sheenier black fabric, and it's sort of, it looks like it would be the cowboy hat to a tuxedo.
Yeah, absolutely. I will tell you this: you kind of like march forward, ready to put your best foot forward. At which point you feel a set of very strong hands pull you into a dark corner adjacent to a passageway that leads back to the food auditorium. It's probably like the nearby restroom. And we're gonna cut from that. Bloberella, as you're making your way back, I think you're kind of like basking in your triumph. You are oblivious to the departure of your teacher. However, there's something that I think you begin to notice and you begin to feel like through the streaming, but also just as like almost like a radiant, like radiation, like background radiation as you're walking around the dance. A lot of those people that you spurned are staring daggers at you. In fact, in point of fact, would anybody in the party have had a glass of the punch that was served during the dance, the hoedown?
I don't really need a drink.
Okay.
I wouldn't have because I wasn't there.
Yeah, perfect.
Tracy would have. She needed something to do with her hands.
Yeah. Tracy, I need you to roll to keep your cool.
Yeah, something I'm notoriously good at. Well, there was a 6 and there was a fuck, and I have a -1, so that's a 6.
Oh shit. Okay.
This dice, fire.
Yeah, fire. I will tell you this.
This dice not fire.
So there's a couple of things that happen, Bloberella. One of which is you hear less like searching for approval. And you hear the snarling pulling back of fangs. And Tracy, you begin to transform into your darkest self. And Johnny, you begin to hear not only just a commotion from inside of the food auditorium, but the sound of screams. And that is where we're going to end tonight's episode.
Oh, God.
All right. Yeah, so guys, this has been an incredibly fun time. We are unfortunately not going to have Mr. Jeff Stormer with us next week, but we will have perhaps a new guest star, teacher or otherwise, sitting in with us. But I want to call out the fact that we're having a good time regardless of the
I'm having so much fun.
This is the best.
Yeah.
regardless of the suspenseful cliffhanger I've just triggered. So with that being the case, we are going to have shout outs and plugs starting top left. Chris, shout outs and plugs for this week.
I neglected to plug this last week, which is a crazy thing for me to do. But I do have a book. If you, find my one-liners compelling, read a book's worth of them. It's called Us in Pieces. It's on Amazon. It's on Barnes & Noble. It's on all the major websites. Us in Pieces is the name of it. I co-wrote it with a friend of mine. It has a lot of this exact kind of angst, if you're into that kind of thing. So that's what I would plug.
Excellent. I love it. Moving down to Hopper, shout outs and plugs.
Shout out to you. Shout out to the fact that I have no idea what's going on at any given point in this stream, but it's extremely compelling. I've been Hopper. I'm going to continue to be Hopper. That unfortunately, apparently that won't change, I guess. But if you would like to see my other work that's not on Menopod Studios, you can follow me at The Legend Tree. And I'm mostly doing stuff on Twitch every so often. And I try to bully all my friends into doing it with me. And that is the Legend Tree with underscores instead of spaces. But if you wanted to, if you're, you don't want to go over to that other channel, click that follow button, that's fine. You can find me right here. I'm like a slowly growing parasitic organism taking over the organs of this here Twitch channel because this was not just mine, but a couple of our third streams in a row. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Sunday stream. That being Hole in the World, an Invisible Sun actual play, an award-winning Invisible Sun actual play, best ensemble cast, real cool people. And I'm going to tell you another secret. You know who runs it? Yeah, that guy, the guy with the trophy that is impossible to read. If you're not totally sick of me, Marcy, and Zach, we are every other Sunday, 4:30 p.m. on Manapot Studios. Excellent. It is weird, surreal, wild, and sometimes terrifying.
Well, we're gonna have to upgrade that sometimes. We are in the middle of October after all. But don't worry, the parasitic organism isn't until next week's session. Anyhow, Jeff, if you would like to do some shout outs and plugs.
I very much I turned off. Oh god, I probably messed up the stream.
No, you're fine. Sorry. You're good. Everything's good.
Okay. Hello,
I
am Jeff
enjoyed
Stormer.
the momentary image.
Hello, I am Jeff Stormer. I am the great Pagliacci of tabletop RPG podcasting and streaming. Things that I will plug. I am the host of Party of One, which is an actual play podcast focused on 2-player games. You can find that at partyofonepodcast.com. You can find me on Twitter at partyofonepod. You can find the games that I make, the podcasts I produce. One such podcast, Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast, which you can find at tinyurl.com/Yazeba's Podcast, also has a trophy that I have got a piece of paper that I will put so that you can see the thing. I figured out a trick.
Clever.
And I'm going to continue to use the trick. Oh my God, this is so heavy and I'm trying to do it one-handed. I really should not do that. I said this last week. That's probably the last time I'm going to do that because it's real scary. As I disappear and move things around. The thing that I will shout out is a project that I am not involved in, but that I love with my whole heart. There's a Kickstarter going on right now for a tabletop role-playing game called Apocalypse Keys, which is a powered by the Apocalypse game of monsters solving mysteries inspired by things like the Hellboy movies, Doom Patrol, similar sorts of like monster family movies. It is honestly one of my favorite games that I've played in a really, really long time. They have pretty much smashed all of their stretch goals. It is going on for the next few hours. So like if you are watching this, go over there right now because I think in like 3 or so hours it will be done. But it is a game that I love with my whole heart. It is one of the coolest mechanical games that I've played in a long time. Thematically, it is everything that I love in a game, and you should go check it out.
It's literally ending in 20 seconds.
Oh, well, all right.
Then congratulations to the Apocalypse Keys team on a successful Kickstarter. I can't wait to play.
I got in. I backed it.
Wow.
We love to hear it. I love to have successfully sold a thing.
Excellent. Moving down to Marcy. Shout outs and plugs.
Oh, you know I got a few. Well, I've been Marcy. This is the third time I've been Marcy this week on this channel in a row. It's been great. You can find me most places around the internet under the username Experimental Madness. I am still and forever shall be the resident cryptid on Twitter. Technically, I do have a username there. It is Marciful, but whether or not I ever see anything that happens, who knows? But, you know, maybe one day I'll reply to things, and that'll be really exciting. You can mostly find me right here on Manapot Studios, if that wasn't evident enough by how often I've been here just this week alone. Since Hopper so graciously plugged The Hole in the World, that means that I need to plug another stream that we're both on, that some of you were definitely watching last night. I see you, chat. And that is Streets of Gotham, which airs a new episode every other Monday, but we like to stream the episode from the last week on our off Monday with a live chat. It's great. We play henchfolk that are really struggling in Gotham, and it's a lot of fun, and we're completely normal about it. So if you ever want to watch us freak out on camera about fictional characters, then tune in. It's great. It's a lot of fun. And hey, if you're looking for past episodes of Streets of Gotham or Flights of Fandom or A Hole in the World, why don't you check out our YouTube channel? Almost all of them are up there, and if they're not, well, we're putting them up there as we speak. Also, if you want to know more about what's upcoming or you ever want to play with us, check out our Discord, email us, and yeah, play games with us. We're fun.
For my own
As
part,
you can see.
yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, you guys, this has been crazy. I will say this has been so much fun. I'm really looking forward to the next 2 weeks as we close out this annual tradition of Flights of Fandom. But I also wanted to take the time to shout out our 2 sets of raiders, Heroes and Hooligans, as well as McStabber Studios. And thank you to Bramblebrush Books. Everybody was kind of inquiring about the teacher playbook that we created for this. We're probably going to want to throw a little bit of extra polish on there, but I will say that I will make it available. It's currently a Notion page that I can easily share with anybody who would be interested in seeing it. So I will do that. But also thank you to Cole Drake. Thank you to all of our chatters this week. And we're looking forward to seeing you next week and on many of the shows and streams that we do. So in the meantime, play more games, have fun, enjoy this spooky season. And we'll see you guys next week. Have a great night.